My next guest, the man joining me today, is a professional mixed martial artist with a record of 7 wins with 1 loss. This man has 6 finishes in his 7 professional wins, and you can currently catch him on season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter. Please welcome onto the show, Landon Quinones. How you doing, Landon?
Doing good, man. Just finished a little workout. Just took a shower, feeling refreshed, feeling nice, ready to get the next day going.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you for taking the time, man. And I'm sure you're busy. You're putting in that work. I follow you on Instagram, so you're always training. You're always at the gym. Thanks for taking the time, brother.
No, of course. I appreciate you.
Awesome, man. So, Landon, you are a professional mixed martial artist. Right now, you are actually the very first Team McGregor person that I've had. I don't want to say contestant, fighter, Team McGregor teammate. You know what I mean? Joining me on the show today, man. How's it feel? Just life, man. How's life been for you?
It's been good. It's definitely been a little different since being on the Ultimate Fighter. Again, a lot of following growth. A lot of people messaging me. A lot of people talking to me. I was able to go to Puerto Rico, and I built a bigger following over there. I did a podcast with my boy Shente, who has over 1 million followers. Interviewed people like Bad Bunny, Karol G, and Well. So I'm growing a big following over there. Went and taught a seminar. My fan base is growing tremendously. But a lot has changed the way that my training has been. I'm currently with a new team, MMA Science Academy. We call it the Pack Fight Team. So I've made a lot of adjustments. Everything's a lot different. I'm kind of getting into the flow of things. But man, like with the way things are going, nothing but positivity has come from this experience, and I'm just excited for the future. I'm doing really well right now, and I couldn't be happier.
Are you in Florida, or because I know you're Eastern time zone? Are you like Florida, or what part are you?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
part of the
yeah.
country?
Florida, South
Florida.
Florida. I actually live in Boca Raton right now.
I'll be in Orlando next week. How's that?
Oh, nice. Orlando's nice. What are you doing? You go to the parks?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the parks. I'm gonna go to the parks. I'm going to Tampa. I'm gonna go catch a Rays game as well.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
I don't know if that's where anywhere near where you're from.
No, I'm more. I'm down south, brother.
Yeah,
I
same.
actually I was in Tampa a couple months ago. When I got back from Vegas, I actually went to Busch Gardens. So if you go to Busch Gardens, they got some sick roller coasters. You'll definitely love it there.
Bro, I hate heights.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But my biggest, I mean, obviously, I like the feeling of being scared because I fight for a living. So
Oh, fair enough, man. Something tells me you're used to having adrenaline pump.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, fighting's a crazy thing. Probably the biggest adrenaline you'll ever have. So I don't think anything gets scarier than that.
Yeah. So you've had a lot of, you said your following's building up, man. So I'm assuming life after this show has been kind of crazy, right? I mean, is it crazy just dealing with all the people? Do you get recognized now in public, man? How's life been for Landon Quinones?
In Florida, not so much, but when I was in Puerto Rico, it definitely happened a good bit. At the gyms and the MMA scene, like a lot of people are hitting me up and talking to me a lot more than they did before. You know, you're getting a lot of publicity, a lot of exposure. That was one of the biggest things about being on the Ultimate Fighter. Life has been good though, man. I've been trying to keep a low profile, work on my skills, work on my weaknesses. Like I said, I made a lot of adjustments in training. I've just been trying to stay grounded. Right now, I'm under contract with the UFC, so I can't fight until the show finishes airing. So right now I'm on the shelf, unfortunately. So I've been doing grappling matches, trying to stay busy, trying to stay active, trying to stay working, and that's it, man. Just staying grounded, staying in the routine, staying consistent. You know, I don't have to be in a training camp pace, but as long as I'm training every day, I'm working on my skills, and I'm keeping myself in good shape, keeping myself healthy, keeping myself out of trouble, hustling, working, making money, doing my thing. That, you know what I mean? It's kept me good, and things are going great.
Is there anything annoying since you got off the show? Is there anything that's bugged
Oh,
you or whatnot, or having to deal with? I'm sure. Hey, bro, I know you're gonna win the show. Or hey, bro, how'd you do? Tell me. Do you deal with
oh
all
yeah,
that kind
bro.
of shit?
All day, every day. I got guys from the media. I got friends asking. I got people DMing me. I
Jesus
got
Christ.
people telling me their opinions on things that happen in the house and like talking about me from the show. And like, it's pretty annoying, but at the same time, it's what I expected. You know, it's a big show. This is the 31st season of The Ultimate Fighter. We also have Conor McGregor as one of the coaches who's the biggest superstar in the history of the sport. So this was definitely something I expected. And it's on primetime ESPN, which is
Yeah.
pretty damn good for my brand. So regardless of how annoying people get, they're just fans and they're just enjoying the experience. And, I got to love it and appreciate it for what it is.
They're watching, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man. So you're Team McGregor. How was that experience like being around a guy like Conor McGregor, man? Gotta ask that one.
Honestly, it was life changing. The guy is definitely exactly like he is on TV. It's not an act. He's a very charismatic guy, crazy energy, very intense human being. A guy that's very obsessed with his craft. He's a little crazy. When he talks about going mad and going insane in your craft, you got to be a little bit gone. The guy's definitely a little bit gone. The practices were really good. He was there a lot to promote his brands and stuff. But he had his family in town, so there's sometimes he would miss practice, but when he was there, it was valuable, and he didn't hold anything back from what he does in his fights and teaching us anything. He taught us a lot of crazy things, a lot of good things that we can add to our game. It's beautiful for me also because I'm a southpaw myself and I'm a
Yeah.
striker. So it was only fitting for me to be on a team like Connor to learn from one of the best southpaws to ever do it. Also getting to train with his coaches, John Kavanaugh, O'Roddy,
Great minds.
Sergey Politsky, all these guys. It was amazing, man. It was amazing. I got a lot of different looks, a lot of different. The striking aspect too. I have a good coach, so my coach kind of teaches me the same concepts they were teaching, but to hear the way things are explained in a different way kind of helps your outlook on techniques. And I was able to take a lot of the routines and the structure, the way they train back home with me, and add it to the way I do things back home. So it was definitely life changing. I got to see how a guy that's got so much star power handles himself from when we went out in public with him, to the way he carries himself in front of the cameras, to the way the UFC treats him, to just his personality too. Because realistically, I see him, and you would think someone who has a lot of money like that has changed and stuff, but the guy takes great care of his team. He's very close to his people, you know what I mean, and he's a very caring guy and a very passionate guy. So I'm just grateful for the experience, and I got a lot to thank Connor for sure.
Does it add extra motivation to you to seeing what you could be?
Absolutely. This is one of the guys that's the best to ever do it. I'd say there's guys with better legacies, but as far as star power and everything
The
like that,
best?
like there's not really anybody that has done it like Connor. He's the most prosperous guy of all time. He's had one of the craziest runs of all time. And to see how he carries himself, how he trains, how he does things, how his work ethic is, how his mind is, being able to pick his brain is definitely a life-changing experience. And obviously, I'm not Connor, and I'm not trying to be like Connor,
Yeah.
but I can definitely take things that he's done in the game and add it to who I am and add it to Landon Quinones. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, one thing about martial arts is very personal. I'll never fight like Connor. I'll never fight
Yeah.
like Volkanovski. I'll never fight like Islam. I'll never fight like I'm gonna fight like me. But if I can take pieces of the game from guys that have been successful and add them to mine, you know what I mean? I can make my own style, make my own impressions, make my own image, my own brand, my own thing, and improve myself to the best of my ability. And that's something that I was able to take from Connor, and it's helped me a lot for sure.
Besides, a martial artist, what life lesson did the show teach you? The experience teach you? It doesn't really have to be from Connor, man. What like personal lesson did you take with yourself?
Man, seeing all these guys that come from different backgrounds, different places, one thing I learned is just to understand how people's mindsets are. I'm a very a lot of times I can be not emotionally intelligent, very emotional, very outlandish, and being able to coexist with different personalities, and also seeing the motivations of different people. You know what I mean? One thing I realized being in the house is that the reason you fight has to be more than just selfish reasons, right? Like my thing
Yeah.
going in was like, oh, I fight because I want to be the baddest dude and because I want to fight and I want to do this and I want to make
Yeah.
money. But it has to be more than that. You have to have a greater why. You got to want to support
Agree.
your family. You got to want to do it also for the love of it. You want to help be able to inspire others. You want to have greater motivations than just being selfish. So I feel like that's one thing that I took. Like for example, when Kurt Holloway was in the house, every time he went to practice, he had a picture of his family in his bag, or he had a
Yeah.
picture of his family at the weigh-ins. You know what I mean? It was something that touched me and inspired me, and I saw it and I looked up to him in a lot of ways because of that. And I feel like having a greater why and a greater purpose to why you do this is something that can drive you and
Yeah.
make this whole experience way more worthwhile than what I was fighting for originally. So I'm very grateful for
Yeah.
that experience because it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it was awesome.
Yeah. I was privileged enough to talk to a jiu-jitsu world champ, Kendo Rusing. I don't know if you know who that is, but she's
I
solid in
don't think I
jiu-jitsu.
do.
She's solid in jiu-jitsu. She'd always she told me the biggest advice I gave to everyone is making sure you understand like why you're doing it. And if you're just doing things for like money, right? Let's just say money or fame. When shit gets rough, that's not good enough to like get you to the next level or get you through a bad day. So
No,
I like that you
it's
say that.
definitely not.
Yeah, 100%. So it really like stuck with me. She had a point. So it kind of, goes back with what you're saying, man. So I completely agree with you there.
Yeah,
Now,
like being young and dumb and wanting to be the best. Like, yeah, you can be driven to be the
yeah,
best. It's important. But on some days when you're broke as fuck and you don't know where the
yeah,
money's coming and you're doing this, like you got to have more reasons than just,
yes.
oh, I want to be the best. You know what I mean? You got to put food on the table. You know what I mean? You got to pay the rent. You got to pay the light. Like there's so much more. You know what I mean? You got to make sure your mom's taken care of when she retires. You know what I mean? There's so much more that you have. For those that have kids, right? They have to take
Yeah.
care of their family. You got to make sure their kids have food. Like there's so much more to it than just yourself, and I feel like that was something I learned out in the house.
Now, talking about stuff that's already aired, right? There looked to be a little bit of tension between you and a vet there. Um, People saw that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to ask a different question from this, where you might think, I might go, but no. Did you learn something besides Kurt Holloway? Was there something positive you earned or you got from being around vets?
Absolutely, man. These are guys that have been there, done that. I think they're kind of dumb for having lost their opportunity. At least the reason some of them did. Some of them just had some tough losses and a tough run, and things didn't
Yeah,
go their way. Some of them were making money and making the wrong decisions and fucked up their opportunities. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I kind of learned. I mean, they say the life's greatest lessons are on the tombstones of others, right? So I
That's a
feel
good
like
one.
yeah, for sure. And I feel like I learned a lot from watching them. But one thing I saw is how hungry they were after losing an opportunity. And just seeing how they handle themselves, they're a lot more calm, a lot more mature than us. Our prospects our team was outlandish and degenerates and like talking trash and having loud, funny van rides. Like it was fun. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of motivation
For
and a
sure.
different kind of energy. And I feel like that youthful energy is a great thing that we had. But seeing the composure of the vets and seeing like how they move, I don't know. It definitely did make a thing. And I feel like it's a different like the motivation that we all have is equal, right?
Yeah,
But it's different. You get what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
These
Yeah.
are guys that had it and lost it. We're guys that never had it and won it. So the motivation is equal, but different. Does that make sense? I know
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not making sense.
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
I get you. I'm following you. I'm
but
following you.
I don't know, just the composure and seeing how they handle themselves and seeing like how they flip the switch. I've always been a guy that's good at flipping the switch, but watching the way some of those guys do it was pretty impressive, and I definitely am going to take from him for sure.
Now, you're a savage, man. You seem like a guy that's very confident in themselves. Uh, but I gotta ask, was there a point there? Let's just talk about the episodes that have aired where the vets had won. Was there some sort of humbling experience as you were watching guys from your team lose there? Like, was it like a oh shit or none of
Well,
that?
I wouldn't call it humbling, man. You got to understand, like, you got to
Okay,
learn to separate the team vibe because at the end of the day,
okay,
like, yeah, it's a team thing on the show,
yeah,
but realistically, we're all from different camps and different teams. Like, none of us are actually teammates. Like, you make
yeah,
friends, you're interacting, you're in a
yeah,
house, and the team vibe they push that on you, right? But
yeah.
at the end of the day, none of those guys are friends with each other. None of those like they're friends, but they're not here for each other. They're here for themselves. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Okay.
When the prospects win their fights, the prospects have to fight each other. And the
Yeah,
vets all win their fights, the vets have to fight each other. So you guys can talk about how you're friends and teammates all you want, but at the end of the day, this is an individual competition. So watching those fights, I don't want to say it was humbling, but at one point the team vibe was getting in my head and it pissed me the fuck off because I hate
yeah,
losing. I'm a competitive person.
for sure.
So I was running my fucking mouth and I said my piece, and it did irritate me. But at the end of the day, I brought myself down to earth and I actually reminded myself, hey, like you're not. Whatever happened with them has nothing to do with you. You
Yeah.
need to carry on and focus on yourself.
All
But
about you.
it does pain me to see because you build relations with these people, you build interactions, and you have to see them hurt because losing a fight is one of the most painful things you can do. The sport has the highest highs and the lowest lows. So when you develop these friendships, because when you have no phone, no TV, no music, no books, and you're forced to interact with people in this house, you build relationships very quickly. You know what I mean? There's no outlets or social media or anything to distract you. You have to talk to these people. So when you start interacting and talk, even the veterans, like I made friends with some of the veterans. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Cody Gibson was a guy I talked to a lot, a guy that was like an older guy that schooled me on a lot of shit. And like, there's a lot of people, good people in the house, regardless of what the case is, you build relations with people. So it did pain me to see guys lose. It did pain me because I understand how important the opportunity is to them as it is to me. So that was a factor. But like I said, I was able to kind of ground myself and separate it from all that.
Is that why the nickname the Lone Wolf comes from?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I definitely had to become one for sure at some point. But I did have a good relationship with most of my teammates, and I have a big mouth. I have a personality. It's not for everybody. I'm very outlandish and blunt, so I say what's on my mind, and sometimes I don't really have a filter. Sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I say things I shouldn't say. But at least I'm not fucking fake. So
I hear that. I hear
that's
that.
cool.
I hear
Yeah.
that, man. It's better to be real. Did it bother you that you were ranked number 4 by Connor?
Not to be honest, everyone on that show it belongs there, and everyone there had a chance of winning. So regardless of what the ranks were, it didn't really matter. I felt like with the matchups, I felt like that might have been a strategical thing. I felt like I was one of the better strikers in the whole cast, and I felt like I had a chance to beat anybody there. So I think it could have been a strategic thing. It could have been that he wanted to put his boy Lee number one. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he wanted to put me on the second set of fights for any reason. I didn't really look into it. He even told us that the rankings don't mean shit. It was just more about like whatever he feels to do. He told us from the get go when he picked the rankings don't mean shit. We're just gonna put you guys in. So it is what it is. Maybe there was a method. To me, it makes no difference. I still fought the Ultimate Fighter. I still got an opportunity of a lifetime. I don't give a fuck.
Were you a fan of the show beforehand?
Yeah, but not to the degree that I am now. I think once I got selected, or when I knew I was going to go to Vegas to do the final process, I started watching highlights from every season. I did watch a few seasons. Like I watched the John Jones season. Obviously, everyone's watched season 5, the BJ Penn season with Jens Pulver. That was
Hell,
another
that's
great
what got me
season.
hooked, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I watched a little bit of the DC Stipe season. My coach was actually a coach for Amanda Nunes coaching staff. Roger Carl, he was on the Amanda Nunes season, so I watched a little bit of that. Volkanovski, I had a friend of the Volkanovski season, and I'm a big Volkanovski fan, so I watched that one as well. But yeah, man, I definitely got more into it being on it for sure.
Did you what got you started in MMA as we're wrapping up here?
How much can I say on this show?
You can say whatever fuck you want, bro. You can cuss, you can say whatever.
Awesome. So I kind of like I dabbled in martial arts throughout my life, like karate when I was 5, tried boxing when I was 13. My mom wasn't able to afford it, didn't want to put me in or even really drive me. I grew up with a mother with a lot of mental health issues. She didn't really want to do much for me in those senses, the things I wanted to do. I didn't really have a lot of opportunity. I played basketball, I dabbled in sports and stuff, but I never really finished anything I started, right? Yeah. In high school, I used to skip school a lot, not really do shit. I feel like I wasn't really able to dedicate myself to anything. I had no direction. I remember I was 17 years old, and I used to have little get-togethers in my house during the day because I would go to the bus stop, and my mom went to work at 9 o'clock. I would go back to the house and just skip school all day, and I missed like months of school at a time. And I remember I had one of my friends came over, and he had just started doing jiu-jitsu classes at Wagner Rocha's, Wagner Rocha Martial Arts, which is I know you don't know Wagner Rocha is, right? Really high-level black belt, big-time competitor.
Definitely
yeah,
not,
world
bro.
champion, ADCC competitor, really good jiu-jitsu guy here in Florida. And he had a gym in Plantation close to my house. And he had started doing classes. He was really hyped on it. And we were smoking in my house, and we were watching a bunch of fighter highlights, Anthony Pettis, John Jones, Anderson Silva. And growing up, I knew, like, obviously I knew Brock Lesnar because I was a WWE fan as a little kid, and then he was a fighter. So I knew who he was. I knew who Frank Mir was. I knew Anderson Silva was. Like, I knew some of the older guys. But the guy that stood out to me the most watching was Nick Diaz. And I remember watching Nick Diaz and like with my upbringing and like my issues socializing and expressing myself and like watching how poor he grew up and watching his upbringing and seeing the way his personality was and the way he was fighting and stuff. Like it inspired me because I felt like I could like resonate with that, you know? And watching him flick people off and talk a bunch of shit. And I saw him finishing dudes and banging dudes up. I'm like, man, I can do that. So I started going to classes 3 days a week. And I remember one day, because I used to day drink and do drugs with friends, pop pills, and do a bunch of psychedelics and shit. I used to be partying all the time when I was like in high school, late high school. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't going to go to college. I didn't have any direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do for work. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I remember one time I was at a friend's house. I had been training, but like I wasn't taking it seriously. I was all talk, right? And I remember I did an acid trip. And I remember I looked in the yes, I know it sounds fucked up, but listen here. So I went in the bathroom and I looked in the mirror at myself and I just didn't like what I saw. I'm like, damn, I'm all frail. My face is breaking out with acne. I'm day drinking. Like, what the fuck am I doing in my life? I've never finished anything I started in my whole life. I have no direction whatsoever. And that moment kind of woke me up. After that, I didn't drink anything. I didn't smoke. I didn't do shit for like 2 years. And I just trained 3 days, turned to 4 days. 4 days turned to 5 days. 5 days turned to 6 days. Eventually, 6 turned to 7 days a week because I was young and I could do that. And then, yeah, man, I just kind of found a passion. I had my first fight when I was 18 in high school. I knocked out a guy that was 23 years old with a spinning back fist. And I got that winner's high for the first time. And I realized, like, I can actually do this, you know, because I never accomplished anything in my life. I was in tears, man. I won a fight. I climbed a mountain and I won on a personal goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from there on, I knew regardless of how hard it would be, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to push at. And now we're here. So, yeah,
Shit,
it's been a long journey.
How do you how picturing yourself when you're like 18 years old to now, man? What would your 18-year-old self think, man?
He'd be like, "Damn, you are a stud, and you have gotten way further than I ever thought you would." That's what I think. You know what I mean? I knew I could do stuff, but like once you don't really know until you're there. You know what I mean? And like realistically, I'm only 7-1. I'm still a baby in this game. I got plenty of fights to have, plenty of fight left in me. I'm not even in my prime. 27 years old. I want to be one of those guys with 50 plus fights and I'm done with this. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of work to do and I got to stay humble, stay grounded, keep working until my family's fed, taken care of. The bills are paid constantly until my life has changed and everyone else's life has changed. The work's not done. So you just got to keep pushing, stay humble, keep your head down, keep working and just enjoy the process and don't rush the process, you know?
Hell yeah, man. Great story. Landon, before we sign off here, man, been doing I've had a member of the show usually join me weekly, man. I've been doing some Ultimate Fighter trivia, man. You might not be great, you might be great at this, man. I got just 3 questions for you, man, and we'll close out the show, man. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. What world champion was produced out of the Ultimate Fighter season 14?
Season 14. Who was the coaches in that one?
Michael Bisping and Jason Mayhem Miller.
Oh man, world champion.
Yep, what world champion came out of that one show?
Ah, that's rough. What? Can you give me a hint?
Yeah, I'll give you two options, bro. I'll give you two options. I'll give you TJ Dillashaw or Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson.
That is incorrect. It was TJ Dillashaw.
It was TJ. That was the John Dodson. That was the John Dodson season.
Yeah, John Johnson beat him in
Oh
the
man,
finale.
damn! I forgot about that. Damn. Okay, that sucked.
So I guess all good. We're gonna go to the second one. Okay. Who from the Ultimate Fighter? So who is the only person to ever win the only live season of the Ultimate Fighter?
Chiesa.
That was who?
Michael Chiesa.
You are correct. Hey, you got this. All right. Last one.
You know,
man.
I know that because I remember he was at the PI when I was in Vegas.
Oh, there you go.
A whole hour-long combo with him. So I guess I got lucky on that one.
There you go. All right, man. So I got the last one here, man. So season 1 of the Ultimate Fighter had Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell, man. What were the color of the jerseys, man? What were their
Green and
team
black.
colors? Green and black? It was green and blue.
Green and blue. Fuck.
All right, not bad though. Not bad, man. You got one. You got
damn.
one, man. Landon, it's been great talking to you, man. Is there a message you want to give to your fans, to your following out there, man? People that may not know, or people that just found out who you were through the show, man.
Yeah, man. Just keep watching, man. I'm an exciting fighter. I have a long career ahead of me. I plan on making everybody in my family proud. The island of Puerto Rico, my following over there. Shout out to my coach Roger Crawl, my team, the Pat Fight team, MMA Science Academy, my sponsor Boner Bears Meal Enhancement Gummies. My teammates, my friends, my family. I mean, I'm so happy to have these opportunities, and I just want to keep making y'all proud. And God bless, man. Thank you for having me.
Shit, man. Landon Quinones, the lone wolf himself. You can catch him Tuesday nights on Ultimate Fighter Season 31. Team McGregor, Team Chandler. Landon, it's great having you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me.